Hi there, welcome to class. Let's start off on our mat. And we're going to begin with a couple of roll downs. So I'll stay facing if you want to come to the end of your mat so that the mat is all the way out in front of you. We're going to begin by just bringing your chin to your chest and rolling yourself down towards the floor. Taking your time. Letting your knees bend a little bit if you feel they need to. And then from your pelvis, tailbone goes under and you roll yourself all the way back up to standing. Let's take both arms up to the ceiling. And then from there, you're going to grab one of your wrists and lift it. Come back to the center, grab the other wrist and lift it. We've got a little bit of a side bend each way. Back up to the center, circle round, and now we have another roll down, chin to chest, and folding forwards. All the way down, as far as feels comfortable. If you need to bend your knees, that is okay. If your legs will go straight, then maybe let them go straight. Big deep breath. And then rolling all the way back up again. We'll have another arm movement here. Both arms are going to go up. And then circle around and clasp your hands behind you this time. And pull back. Holding your stretch just for a few breaths. Then arms back by your sides, chin to chest, and fold forwards, folding all the way down. And from here, you're going to bend your knees and soften. And then push your legs straight. And bend your knees and soften. And push your legs straight. Sit bones rise as your legs straighten. Bend your knees and soften. Tuck your tailbone under. Tuck your head in. Push your legs straight. One more like this. Bend your knees and soften. And then push your legs straight. Roll all the way back up to standing. Tailbone under. All the way back up until your head is in the right spot. Both arms go up to the ceiling again. And as you circle around, you're going to bring one arm across your chest and pull the other one in. It's going to look a little bit like that. Holding the shape. And then switch it around to do the other side. So now it's going to look a little bit like that. And then arms back by your sides. This is the last roll down, chin to chest, and folding forwards. And with this one, we're just going to let ourselves dangle, let the arms really relax and dangle in the sockets. And then we're going to put in some circles. So both the arms circle outwards. So I've turned to face the camera. So if you're confused, hopefully you can see. And then from there, changing direction and both arms circle inwards. And then your arms will become still. Bend your knees and soften and come right down onto the mat into 4-point kneeling. A cat stretch. It's going to take your tailbone under. Your chin's going to tuck in. Round your spine. Breathe into the shape. And then let it come back down to flat back. And perhaps a little bit of extension if it feels okay to do so. Knees pressed down, hands pressed down, tailbone tucks under, chin tucks in. Cat stretch. Hold the shape and breathe. And then let it wave through your spine into flat back. And then again, knees pressing down, hands pressing down, inner thighs lifting. Spinal bones lifting up towards the ceiling. And then back to flat back. Okay, a little bit of a change on this one into your cat stretch. And then we're going to reach the cat stretch backwards, high over our heels into angry cat. So my arms stay straight. I round my spine more. I tuck my tailbone under more. I stay back here, and then I roll my pelvis so that I'm back in flat back. And then I track forwards back over my hands. I'll do that again. A cat stretch. Angry cat. Pushing into the mat with your hands. Easing your hips backwards over your heels. Tucking your tailbone under. Roll your pelvis through. Leveling out your spine. And then tracking forward back over your hands. Cat stretch. Angry cat. Roll the pelvis through. Track it forwards. Let's do one more like this. Cat stretch. Angry cat. Roll it through. Track it forwards. Okay, so now we're back in our 4-point kneeling. You're going to take one of your legs out to the side. And just begin by just tracking back and forth. So it's a little bit less like leaning your body weight back over your heel. A couple more like this. And then we're going to add in our cat and angry cat. So here we go. We've got a cat stretch here. And that reaches back into angry cat. You'll roll your pelvis through, flat back, and then you'll track forwards back to where you started. Cat stretch. Angry cat. Roll it through. Track it forwards. Cat stretch. Angry cat. Pelvic roll. Track it forwards. Two more like this. Making it flowing if you can. Last one. And then returning back to where you started and bring that leg back around and underneath you. And then switch to the other leg. So it's going to go out to the side. Same shape as before. I'll do a quick turn to the camera so that you can see what the shape is going to look like. And we're straight into our cat stretch again. Angry cat. Pelvic roll into flat back. Track it forwards. Cat. Angry cat. Pelvic roll into flat back. And then track forwards. Three more like this. Last one. And then from there, bringing the leg back underneath you and settling back into 4-point kneeling, and then taking the far arm through for thread the needle. So you can bring your shoulder right down onto the ground if your body feels okay with that, or you can stay strong in this pushing arm and keep your body fairly high. It all depends on what your spine feels happy with. Coming back up. Switching around to the other side. All the way back up. And switch. All the way back up. And switch. Coming all the way back up and then sitting back into a child's pose or a shell stretch just for a moment. And then coming out of that, turning yourself around, your feet on the mat. I'm sat roughly in the middle of the mat. I'm going to have my hands on the outsides of my knees. And we're going to begin with a half roll back. So you're tilting the back of your pelvis until your arms go straight. And then rounding through your spine to come back up to seated. A pelvic tilt. And then coming all the way back up. And just keep repeating. So we're using our arms to help us figure out how far we want to go. So we want our upper body to wait for our pelvic tilt to lead the way. So by having your hands on your knees, it helps you hit that target. It restricts how far your upper body can go while letting you pelvic tilt further, 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 and then all the way back up. We've got several more. You can go a little bit further this time if you want to. Still using your hands as a guide so they can come off the sides of your knees now and maybe go a little bit down your thigh. Trying to, every time, bring the back of your pelvis right down onto the mat. Right, on the next couple, we're going to see if we can bring just the shoulder blade tips to the mat. So the back of the pelvis rolls down, the shoulder blade tips touch, and then we come back up again. So we're staying in that upper spinal curve. My head is tucked in, and I'm just trying to creep into that little extra bit of challenge. All right, on the next one, we're going to go all the way to the mat, and then you get to stay there, and you don't have to come back up all the way down until your head touches the floor. Okay, arms by your sides, bring your heels roughly underneath your knees or thereabouts. Here, we're now going to go into single knee floats, lifting one leg up, putting it down, lifting the other leg up and putting it down. Trying to keep the back of your pelvis level so that the movement of your legs doesn't tip your hip around. We've got 4 more like this. If you struggle to figure out where the work is here, you can use your own hand to give you a bit of resistance so that you're pushing into your leg a little bit, and you have to work harder to pull your back up. Let's do that a few times. That feels quite effective. So you're going to push one of your hands against your own thigh. It's about 3 out of 10 effort. It's not much of a push, just enough to give your core something to work with. Four. And 3. 2. This one's going to stay up. And on this last one, you end up with both legs up. If it's a challenge to hold your legs up like this, you can let your heels drop towards the floor. If you want the challenge, you can hold them up. We're going to toe tap one foot at a time to the floor and then pull it back up. The other foot and then pull it back up. And maybe let's use our hands against our legs to help us find where that work is. So giving a bit of a gentle push to the leg as the leg approaches you. So you have to pull it in with more ab work. Let's have an inhale as the leg drifts. And an exhale as it comes back. Couple more. Last one. And then both legs are going to stay up like this. Pull your knees into your chest and give yourself a little hug. Keep hold of your right leg and send your left one back down onto the mat. So we've got a stretch here to start with. And then holding onto the back of your thigh, you're now going to bend and straighten. That high leg. And then from there, point and flex your foot up to the ceiling. And then we're going to do small circles up in the air. If you want to do this with a bent leg, it's fine. You can just bend your knee and circle your thigh bone around, across to the opposite hip, away and back up, across, away and back up, across, away and back up. Inhale across and away, exhale as you come back up. One more in this direction, and then you change and go the other way. So we're going down, around, and back up. And again, that can be with a bent knee. And you can also add a bit of a push with your own hand to help you find the pull in sensation in your core. Last one, another pull in for a stretch. Let's take a little crossover stretch. So the other leg's going to bend in, cross that right leg over, let the knee drop out to the side. And then we'll swap everything around. Right leg down on the mat, left leg pulled in for the stretch. Bend and straighten. Two more. Hold it up. Point and flex. Stay in the point and then circles. Inhale away. Exhale, pull in. Two more. Last one. And then change direction. Inhale away. Exhale, pull in. Inhale away. Exhale, pull in. Got a bit of a shaky leg today. Hard work. Last one. And then bend that knee in towards you. So we've got that pull in stretch to start with. And then the other leg is going to bend up and you're going to cross that over. It's a figure of 4 stretch. Glute stretch. Let the knee drop out to the side. Good. And then bring your legs back down to that start position. Straighten them out and give them a little shake. And then back up. Soles of your feet on the mat. And we've got one leg on tabletop and then the other. And then the hands are going to come behind your head. Lifting your head and shoulders up by pushing your rib cage down into the mat. And from here, we're going to straighten one leg to the ceiling and bend it down. And then the other to the ceiling and bend it down. Every time the leg reaches up, push the back of your body into the mat. So the lowest 4 ribs push down and the back of your pelvis also pushes down. A nice breath pattern to work with. I'm inhaling as my leg goes up to the ceiling and exhaling as it comes back. 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. We keep going and now both go up to the ceiling and both bend back, both go up, both bend back. Breathe in on the rise, breathe out on the bend. 4 more. Last one. And then you'll send them up one last time and they'll stay there. You'll split the legs and then small scissors to the ceiling, eyes looking down at your thighs. 4, 3, and 2, and 1. Both knees into your chest. Give yourselves a hug. Well done. Right, if you can rock yourself up to seated, maybe go ahead and do so. If you need to lean to the side and push yourself up, that's completely fine. And then we're going to go into saw, which is a wide-legged seated position with your arms out to the sides. And rotate towards one of your legs, fold forwards. One arm reaches forward, one arm reaches backwards. And then you'll come out of that and switch sides. Rotating around, reaching with one hand to the foot, reaching the back hand out behind you. And then all the way back up. And rotate. And reach. And back up. And rotate. Let's have 4 more. And 2 more. And last one. And then you're going to come all the way back up. Let your arms come down. Bring your legs back together. And pivot around so that you can lie down on your front. Hands to the sides of the body. They can be slightly wider than the mat if that suits you. I'm going to keep mine on the mat. And then from here, pressing the pelvis into the ground, pushing the low back bones up into the skin, letting the abdominals follow that back lift, and then starting to rise. I've got hardly any push at all through my arms. So they're just placed on the floor, but they're not really pushing. The pushing part is my pubic bone. And I'm creating the lift by pushing the front of my pelvis down. And then I lower back to the mat. And then I'm going to do that again. I'm focusing on my pelvis and the weight going through it, keeping it even on both sides. Using the push to push the backbones up into the skin behind me, creating lift, and then lowering back down again. Let's have an inhale on the lift. Pelvis pushes the mat. Low back bones lift up to the ceiling. Breathe in. And a couple more like this. Here's your last one. Lower all the way back down. Sit back into a child's pose for a rest. Rounding your back, tailbone under. And then turning yourself around. So you're lying down on your back for a shoulder bridge. Feet underneath your knees or thereabouts. Pushing down through your feet to lift your hips up. Uncurling down through your spine to get back to the mat. Push through the feet to lift the hips. Uncurling all the way back down. Inhale as you rise. Exhale as you lower. Last one. And then from there, you're going to roll onto your side. Center yourself on the mat. Maybe let your head rest on your own arm. If you want a higher head position, you can prop it up with your hand. Bend your knees in. My heels are still together. I'm going to try and line my tailbone up with my head. And now I do oysters. I'm using the hand that's on the floor to help push my leg up. So at the moment of lift, I push down into the ground with that top hand. Trying my best to keep my hips stacked. We're going to have 4 more. And 2. And last one. Bring the knees together, let your legs slide away. Stretching out the sides of the legs. And then we're going to turn ourselves around and do the other side. So I line my heels up with my tailbone and my head. And then I'm opening and closing the knee. Trying to find that same helpful push off my hand at the moment that I want my leg to lift higher. Four more. And two. Last one. And then all the way back down. And from here, you're going to draw your knees in a little bit and push yourself up to seated. So I've got both legs kicked out to one side. It's an awkward seat. So if you need to sit on an actual chair, like a sofa chair or something like that, that's okay. I've got both my hands hooked around my ankles. And we're going to take one arm up towards the ceiling and stretch over towards your feet. And then come back out of that. The back of the arm is going to go down. The palm is facing up. And you're going to reach and curve the other way. And then you're going to come all the way back up through T-arms. Hook your hand around the outside of your ankle. Take your arm up to the ceiling. Use the sit bone that you can feel on the mat to push your arm straight. So you have to lift your low tummy first, then lift your upper abs, then lift through the breastbone and lift through the arm. All the way back up. The back of the arm goes down. The palm is facing up on that floor hand. And we're side bending over the other way. Coming back up. Reaching and side bending. And working on that internal lift. So here we go. You're going to push down on the sit bone. Let it lift your low back. Let it lift your low tummy. And then see if you can get more straightness in that top arm from all of that lift you created. It's hard work. And a side bend over the other way. And we got one more on this side. Reaching up and over. And then all the way up back to here. Then you're going to take your legs out in front of you so that the soles of the feet can come together. You're just going to do a little bit of an inner thigh stretch. So you bring your feet as close as you feel you comfortably can. And then a bit of a fold over the top of them. Holding as best as you feel you can. It's quite uncomfortable. And then coming out of that, we then take a wide leg position with the soles of the feet down, and we just rock one at a time, the leg inwards. Loosen off at the socket. And then from there, when you come back to the center, both legs are now going to go to the other side. Hook your hands around your ankle. Take your arm up to the ceiling and then side bend towards your feet. And then back up, coming down into the counter stretch. Feels like a long reach. And then coming back up. Your arm goes up to the ceiling. You use your sit bone to lift your low back. So you have to push down into the mat. And then lift your low back up. Lift your abdominals up. And all the way back up. And a side bend over. And back up. And over. Last one. Going up. And all the way back up to here. And then you're going to turn yourself around so your knees can come underneath you. We're in 4-point kneeling, and then you're going to walk your hands away a little bit so that we're now on a long diagonal. So if this long diagonal is too difficult for your arms and your back and your core, you can stay in 4-point kneeling and do your small set of push-ups in 4-point kneeling. So the elbows are bending down towards the floor in this situation. If you're on your long diagonal, you're going to be doing the same elbow bend, bending back towards your own waist. It doesn't have to be a big elbow bend. It can just be small, just working with what you have today. Let's have 3 more. We're nearly done. And 2 more. And last one. And then sit back into a child's pose and rest. Walking your hands all the way around to one side. And then all the way to the other. And then back to the center, and you're going to curl your toes underneath you and stretch your feet. Walking your hands back towards your knees. Slowly rolling through your feet. So you're in a crouched position, and then pushing your feet down onto the mat. Pushing your legs straight. We're in a forward bend. And then rolling all the way back up to standing. Take a minute to find yourself. And then from there, we're going to go up into a standing balance. Feet push down, both arms reach up. Circle your arms around and down. Your heels will come back down again. Shoulder roll and an arm shake to finish. Well done, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. And I shall see you next week for more of the same. Bye now.